All right, we have 10 minutes. So I mentioned this earlier. One project, I think pre-OpenAI Dev Day, I think AutoGen was certainly positioned as one of the few frameworks that exposed or at least showed off what a conversational agent experience could look like. And now with assistants kind of coming in, maybe it's a little bit more muddled. But I think AutoGen still has a lot of credibility and actually a lot of value to be had. So John wrote up this blog post, and Devis implemented an initial version of a integration, what that could look like. And I'll actually demo that if everything works from my side. So just to see what it looks like. So one piece of sort of feedback that I've heard for people building anything to do with semantic kernel planners and whatnot is that they'd like to have some sort of interactive input, right? Where you're talking, you can give the planner maybe some feedback and getting the kernel and the planner to incorporate that into the subsequent responses. So with this, I'll show off live demo. Hopefully it works. Actually, no, before I do that, I'll share so what Devis did, and if Devis is on the call, maybe he can hop off, but hop off mute. But really, he implemented a new planner, which is the AutoGen planner, which has in its components the notion of different personas, right? And there's an assistant, there's this notion of a user or a user proxy. I'd invite you to check out the actual repo and the paper to understand all these things. But the idea is that if you can spin up multiple agents, right, of which they each have their own set of personas, maybe their own set of tools and skills, and you get them to talk with one another, then it sort of unlocks a new set of capabilities. It could probably get you better results than if you did otherwise. So Devs, I don't know if you want to say a few words about that, or at least the implementation, maybe.
Oh, I think you did a great job. Thank you. So the idea here is basically having multiple agents working together, each agent with a different responsibility. The example is very basic. There is much more you can do combining more agents. Imagine you could have 10 agents and each agent responsible for something different. So this is just an example, just to give you an idea of the work done by the AutoGen team and how it fits into the kernel, into the planner pattern and all of that. So the code works. It's Python code for now because we don't have AutoGen is a Python framework. But as Matthew was describing, we're going to leverage a similar approach in C#, Python, and Java. So this idea of having multiple agents working together is going to be very important. We will provide it across all the languages. If you look at AutoGen, I would invite really looking at the white paper they published on Archive. And the first 3-4 pages, they really give you an idea of what they have been doing. They have a lot of examples where the agents are generating code, asking the user to run the code. It makes sense, though. In production, you wouldn't really do that. You're not going to ask your users to run Python code, but it's powerful to see that in action. You can see these agents can generate code, the code works, and you get some work done. We wanted to show a different approach here where rather than executing code, we want to be very explicit about what agents can do with plugins. So we have a couple of plugins, but it could be 100, and it leverages the OpenAI function calling API, which is, I think, up to 128 functions per API request. So you can define hundreds of plugins, tell your agent, this is what you can do. You can read my emails, you can send emails, you can manage my calendar, you can read files, whatever. You can browse the web, you can buy stuff on Amazon. But for some of these actions, you can also say, I want the user to be in the mix. So this is what they call user proxy. And if you saw the keynote yesterday by OpenAI, they were showing there is a step where the user approves the action, which is really important. Like you want AI to automate as much as possible, but you want to be in the mix. You want to be in control, what we call human in the loop. So these will keep that in mind. It will show you that you can have multiple agents, initially one user, eventually multiple users. So you can leverage this design in a one-to-one chat, but I think it's going to be much more powerful in a group chat. And you might see that surfacing into Teams and other products. And for sure, there's going to be demos that we provide, like open source implementation to show you the way so that you can customize it for your own scenarios. Yeah, I didn't go into the implementation details because it's kind of straightforward and it leverages the SK implementation. But I think from a high level, this idea of working together is the best. The best thing moving forward. Like for the next year, I think we're going to all work on these and start maybe leaving prompt engineering a little bit on the side. Like, okay, now we know about prompt engineering, but we want to leverage all that knowledge to do some work. It is still what I call reactive AI, where you talk to AI and AI reacts to you. But I think it will eventually apply also to what I call proactive AI, where you say, I'm going to create a bunch of agents. I'm going to give them a goal and they will run in the background. For example, let me know when I receive an important email. I'm trying to schedule my vacations and it could take a week. I'm not going to keep watching my inbox, but AI, please watch it and let me know whenever there is an action to do. AI will reach out to you, ask for questions, and keep moving forward. So you might have these collaborations with AI, where in these demos, you see the collaboration is very real time. Like you want to get the work done in 5 minutes, but you might have tasks that can run for a week or longer. And so you might have, you will start seeing AI running in the background and reaching out to you out of the blue, like you might be working on your presentation and AI reaches out to you, oh, you got an email. Looks like we need more money for your vacations you're trying to play, or you got a reply from the agent, travel agent. I think over and over we will see those scenarios popping up. It's going to be very interesting to see how different products will implement that. And I think there's going to be a lot of new design ideas, not just from a coding perspective, but actually the user experience might be a little bit different than what we're used to.
Yeah, so in this demo that I have, as Devis mentioned, right, this one's actually very simple, but eventually we'll have more comprehensive ones. But the idea is that if you just initialize even a single like agent, right, and then you can converse with it, well, this is kind of an experience. So if my question is, okay, should I go to Europe or Asia for Christmas? I don't know if you could see this at the very top of my VS Code. It shows that this, it's kind of bad user experience, I'll say, but it's like at the very top, I can provide feedback to the assistant, right? So let's first see like what the worker messaged me. So it's like decision depends on your preferences. Europe and Asia both have unique experiences to offer during Christmas, blah, 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 blah. You can visit these cities. On the other hand, Asia has all this stuff. Very cool. What kind of experience are you looking for? So I'm going to say, like, I want to eat good food. And now the assistant will come back to me saying, okay, if your main priority is to eat good food, right, this is some stuff you can consider for Europe and Asia, and kind of like going back and forth about, okay, these are, these are some of the things you can think about. And you can just keep dialoguing with it. In this case, right, it's more of an open-ended question. I think if you have a closed loop question, right, it will just actually terminate once you've like reached the actual goal. But if I can keep talking, it's like, okay, which area has the best weather? And in terms of the skills I gave it, I did give it like the ability for it to use Bing as well as kind of be able to read web pages. Whether or not it's using that, maybe this is not the best like question to ask, but I think it shows the idea that, right, these agents can go use the tools that it has, and yeah, be able to come with this sort of more grounded response. And then, well, looks like there's some error. Maybe it can fix itself. Anyway, but I think that hopefully you get the idea, right? This is, just kind of the start of what a agentized experience could possibly look like. And you combining with a framework like AutoGen, makes a lot of sense. We'll see how all this evolves over time, especially with open AI assistants. So yeah, all that to say is, well, stay tuned for all that.